Hello viewers, thank you for joining me. It's been a while since I've had to fall back on my plan B for a review, but I kind of anticipated October getting away from me, so I had this movie picked out as a backup almost from the beginning. As a little side note, and also the spoiler warning, I know I have yet to master the art of reviewing a movie versus a full-length series. Maybe I should have expected the reviews to be shorter, because the whole point of a movie as a backup plan is that I'll have time to watch it, even if I didn't have time for a full series. But I also don't want to spoil everything just for the sake of time, so here's to hoping this will leave you with just enough to be interested, without seeming too rushed. A Letter to Momo starts out with a young girl named Momo and her mother moving to a small island town after the death of Momo's father. To make matters worse, she and her father got into an argument shortly before the accident, and after the funeral she finds a letter from her father on her desk. But he died before getting a chance to complete it, so all the letter says is "Dear Momo." The artwork and the music caught my attention from the very opening scene. There is so much detail to everything, and the piano in the background is beautiful, and I soon saw that this is true for every part of this movie. I don't know why, but it's so much more impressive to me to see childhood depicted accurately now that I'm an adult. Momo and Ikuko have moved to what I like to think of as a retirement town. They're actually living in a compound with her great aunt and uncle. Momo is probably around 10 years old, just starting to be given more freedom and responsibilities, but there's only a very small group of kids her age to befriend, and though they're very welcoming, they've likely known each other since birth, and I could see why she might be a little hesitant to get involved. On top of this, her mother is taking summer classes, so Momo spends a lot of the day with only her elderly relatives for company. And her father's death is still really recent, so I found Momo to be really easy to relate to, whereas in some other circumstances I might have lost patience with a character as subdued and sullen as she is initially. But this doesn't last for long, as Momo soon learns that she and her mother aren't the only ones inhabiting their new house. It starts when she finds an old picture book in the attic that tells the story of spirits who were banished from the heavens and now roam the earth. To avoid any confusion, in the Japanese they use the word yokai, which is kind of just a general term for spirits. In the dub they call them goblins, and I tend to switch between the two. In the opening scene, what looks like 3 raindrops fall from the sky and bounce off of Momo's head on the way down. These, of course, were Kawa, Iwa, and Mame, the 3 spirits now living in her house, and they figure this contact as they fell to Earth is the reason Momo can see them. But even though no one else can see them, with the exception of really small children, it doesn't mean they aren't making their presence known. For the most part, the whole gods banished from the heavens legend is a cover story, but there seems to be some truth to it. The goblins are suffering from an unspecified punishment where they're just eternally hungry, and though they can't see the goblins, the locals do notice the food disappearing from their farms. Ultimately, it's her quest to stop them from causing trouble that finally gets Momo out of the house, and pretty soon she does start to warm up to the island and mingle with the other kids. But, mostly because these 3 are a group of blundering goofballs, it's not long before that cover story starts to unravel, especially when Iwa and Mame recruit Momo to help them perform their dance to send a report back to the heavens. Iwa finally tells her that they're actually guardians. There's a transitioning period, when the spirit of a person who died is kind of stuck in limbo before they can ascend to the heavens. Because they can't watch over their loved ones themselves while in this state, spirits like Kawa, Iwa, and Mame are dispatched to watch over them in the person's stead and report back on their well-being. And after this, I'm hesitant about how much I want to spoil. There's one final conflict where the 3 risk everything to help Momo save her mother, and then have to leave because their time is up and Momo's father has made his journey to the heavens. But if you've seen as many of these types of stories as I have, you probably could have guessed as much. A Letter to Momo could be fun and goofy, but at its core it's a heartfelt family story that tackles grief and regret and having to move on. Like I said, I've seen a lot of shows or movies or books that follow this sort of storyline. I don't want to say this made A Letter to Momo seem cliché, because I feel like that carries some automatic negative connotations. And even if this movie could be a little predictable, it was still done very well. Those sad, heartfelt moments hit their mark, and it was easy enough to get sucked into the lighter scenes, showing her crazy everyday life with the goblins, too. You do get the sense that Momo is growing at least a little with each adventure, so it certainly wasn't bad, just a little predictable to me. And honestly, even if the story had been bad, I probably would still recommend this movie for the music and animation alone. I could definitely see A Letter to Momo being to some young anime fan what Spirited Away was to me, so if you haven't seen this movie, I suggest you do, even if you feel like you've seen this story 1,000 times before. Thank you for watching.